I remember when I was 16 years old and I would be in my house watching YouTube, and I would see these guys on YouTube that were like talking about nature, they were talking about, mindfulness and all of that. And I couldn't help but think like what a weird thing, right? Especially at that time, it was like weird to me to see those. It was almost like cringe to see those people because that's just the assumption that I had at the time. And it's also kind of a weird thing, because when I was in school, like no one was doing that. And so they'd see it as like hippie stuff, they'd see it as weird, they'd see it as like not with the generation that we were in, right? And so like everyone kind of saw those people, at least I did, as like the weird guys who would hug trees. Now the thing is, I don't really blame myself at that time because these guys almost seemed like a pushover to me. They seemed like they were outside in nature, all peace, all loving, and all that stuff, which is cool. Like, that's great. But the thing is, I had something else inside. I had a little bit of dog inside of me. I wanted to fight. I wanted to go and, like, literally do things that were exciting. I wanted to win wars and stuff, right? And so, like, when I came across these guys, it sounds weird, but you get what I'm saying, especially if you're a dude that has, like, decent amount of testosterone levels. Now, the thing is, for men, that's totally natural. That's totally normal. Like, if you feel like you need to fight a war, if you feel like you need to go and conquer and achieve great things, right? That is a normal part of being a man. It is literally in our blood to defend our families and to protect our people and to conquer other lands. Like, that's in our blood. Whether you want to accept it or not, that is a part of human nature as a man. And so that's the reason why games like Call of Duty or Battlefield or like Assassin's Creed, those games like that are about combat and fighting, that's why they exist. That's why men like to watch sports and watch football and basketball and see their teams winning, because that's just a part of human nature, right? And they're using that in like a healthy competition, because men love competition, right? That's just the thing that we do, bro. And so when I see these guys that are out there like practicing mindfulness, I'm out here like, okay, so that's cool, but where did all of your like male aggression go? Where did your competition go, right? Because to me, it seems like those people, they don't really have that drive. They don't have that competition. And you probably notice the same thing with the people that are like all mindfulness and meditating and all that. And so sometimes when I tell people that I meditate every day, they're like, what? You don't seem like that type of person. And that's because a lot of people think that everyone that meditates is like that. That if you meditate, you're not cool, you don't do like cool stuff, or you're not masculine and you're like have feminine energy, stuff like that. But the truth about meditation is that it allows you to focus and it allows you to open up your mind, right? It allows you to step back from your feelings and your thoughts and to observe them. That's all that it does. And so what meditation does is it literally helps you step back from your feelings and to observe them from like a third person point of view. So you can see your feelings. You can see, okay, I feel this way, but instead of actually acting that out, I want to see why I feel this way. And I want to see if it's valid to what's actually going on here. And so you'll open up your mind so much more when you can just step back and actually listen to what the other person is saying instead of putting up all these guard barriers and not listening to what they're saying. So meditation is really, really good for that. And so that's why you can really tell when you're talking to someone who's been meditating consistently, because it's almost like therapy for you. Because most people, they just wait for their turn to speak instead of actually listening to what someone has to say. So when you speak to someone that actually meditates consistently, you can really tell like, okay, wow, he's actually listening. Oh, he brought that up. That's exactly what I was thinking. Or he's actually listening to what you're saying. And the fact that you're being heard is like, it's incredible. Like when I speak to someone that meditates, I don't speak to a lot of people that meditate just because not a lot of people meditate these days. But when I speak to someone that meditates and I hear them, the way they speak back to me and their insights, it's literally like, it's incredible to see. It's incredible to know like how well they're actually listening instead of just waiting to speak their words, right? Just waiting to spit their opinion onto me. But something that I noticed that happens is people will confuse like this with losing aggression. The thing is that whatever information you get, you always want to be skeptical of it, no matter where it's coming from, no matter who it's coming from. You always want to be skeptical of it. Does that mean you shouldn't listen to it? No. Does that mean that you should question before you listen to it? Question where it's coming from, who's saying it, and question the sources and everything about it? Yes. Does that mean you should question the assumptions that it's based off of? Yes. Here's the thing. We're entering a world where there's not going to be such thing as a lie anymore. Like lies are going to start to not exist because there's truth on this side, there's truth on this side, and there's so much truth going around, but it's like they're all half truths, or they're like stretches, complete stretches of the truth. And so while it's not technically a lie, while there is truth to things, like literally any point these days can be proven with facts and with resources, any point, it's hard to actually discern what's going to be good for us and what's going to be bad for us, and what is the truth and what isn't the truth, or what truth has been stretched, what truth is built upon assumptions, and all those things. And so since we're entering this new age, it's going to be a lot harder to discern what is more truthful than another statement. So you'll have truth here, you'll have truth here, but you'd have to figure out, okay, what's more truthful? What is there more research on it? And is that research biased? What is that research based off of? And so we have this world of so much knowledge that is almost like it's going against us, right? Because we'll have a research that posts this, a research and a study that posts this, and then we'll have another research and a study that, you know, negates that and says, okay, it's wrong because you did this and this and this. And then you'll have a counter study for that counter study. And then it's like an infinite cycle of, okay, is this right or is this right? Like, which one is it, bro? And so at that point, most people will choose their biases. They'll choose what they believe, right? And so the thing is, one of the hardest things that you have to do is to question your core and cherished beliefs, because if you don't question those, then you might be making decisions based off of assumptions, based off of opinions. And do you think that doing that is actually going to help you? In a world with so much information and so much noise that's going to be coming in, especially with the rise of AI and so many new technologies that are going to develop as a result of AI, we have to be very careful with the way that we approach fact, the way that we approach research, the way that we approach the truth in general, because as we know, the truth can be stretched very, very thinly. So we have to really be careful and to observe both sides, right? To be able to step back and actually listen to what someone's saying, to be able to step back and to hear someone out, even if they sound completely wrong. The ability to step back and to listen to someone that you completely believe is completely wrong. If you can step back and actually see it from their point of view and try to see it like how they're seeing it, it's going to do you a lot more than sitting there trying to prove them wrong the whole time. Because then you can see, okay, this is what they're thinking, that's what they think. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm not wrong, maybe he's totally wrong. But now I can kind of get him, see his point of view and get him onto my side, right? So it's going to be a really important skill to actually have mindfulness in the future, to actually listen and to see things from different perspectives instead of just one perspective, like seeing what you think life is, which is based off of assumptions, which is going through your neural circuitry and it's coming out in a different way than what actually reality is. Something else that we have to be very skeptical of is learning. The thing is, when you get all of your information from one source, whether that be school, a certain news channel, or a certain private like company, whatever information you get, or wherever you get most of your information from, you have to be careful that you're getting it from not just one source, not just two sources, not just a few sources, but you need to find like third party, a lot of sources, because we need to make sure that we're going through multiple sources and not just the common popular sources, but the uncommon unpopular sources too. Most of the modern media is controlled by only 6 companies. Let me say that again. Most of the modern media is controlled by only 6 companies. That means that most, if not all of the information that we get is coming from these 6 companies. And do you really think that these companies have our best interests in mind or their own? These 6 companies have the ability to control entire populations and to morph our view of the world into however they really want us to see it. And so we have to be very skeptical and very careful not to fall a trap to just these companies. A lot of the times it seems like you're allowed to make a choice, and it seems like you're allowed to pick what news channels you listen to. But the honest truth is that if it's only controlled by a few companies, then you're just going to be switching between those companies and you're not going to be gaining anything outside of that weird box. And so this is literally what causes people to close their minds and to not see any other like political views or any views from anyone else. So it is crucial to make sure that the media isn't manipulating us. Now the thing is, in this video I was talking mostly about online news, online research, online studies, and I never really dove into social media and how much it affects our thoughts. The thing is, social media is an algorithm-based system which recommends content based off of what you already consume. And so when you keep consuming more and more of that content, it's going to suggest to you more and more of that content that you keep consuming. And so it kind of traps you into this bubble of almost like non-creative thinking, right? You don't get to see the other point of view. You don't get to see anyone else's thoughts besides people who are inside of that bubble, which means that people will literally get like trapped inside of these bubbles thinking that they're right because everyone else affirms them. Everyone else is like, yeah, you're right. Oh yeah, of course this is bad. Of course, da 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 da. And you never actually get to see like what it's like outside of the bubble. Another thing that social media companies do is giving you a reward-based system that gives you stimulating content only once in a while. So what they'll do is they'll give you 2 or 3 bad videos that you don't really want to watch, and they'll give you one really, really highly stimulating a few slides later. What this is like a slot machine. Basically, you can't win every time because if you win every time, you would get off the app quicker. So they determined that when they only give you the reward sometimes, it keeps you in search of the dopamine. It keeps you in search of the app. And so this messes up your reward system. It messes up your entire life because you're spending more time on the phone and on the screen. And so you'll literally waste countless hours of your life just scrolling there because it's so addictive. They've made these things so addictive. It's incredible. So one of the most important lessons that I learned is that we really need to be able to step outside of our comfort zone and to look at our core beliefs, our core cherished beliefs with a grain of salt. We need to see how the other side sees it. We need to see how the opposition sees what we think. And we need to be able to make a determination based off of that. If you like these types of videos, make sure you go down right now and subscribe and leave a comment below telling me your story. I also put a link to my Instagram in the description, so if you have any questions, you can literally just DM me. My name is Justin, and remember, you deserve the consequences of your actions.